If you're a runner who's recently been diagnosed with a meniscus injury, there are some movements you're going to want to change or even avoid that is likely causing increased pressure, increased swelling and pain on the meniscus itself. And in this video, I'm going to show you those movements and how to change them. All right, guys, let's first talk about what your meniscus is. In between your thigh bone and your shin bone, you have your meniscus. It's what you can see here in this model, it's blue. It's a shock absorber that sits in between your two bones, and its job is to dampen forces and provide increased stability to the knee. The problem when you turn or rotate your knee when you land in running, it can cause strain to the meniscus and over time create a degenerative tear. Or if you happen to step funny or have a specific trauma, you can have a tear that happens in the moment, and that's a traumatic tear. Either way, you're going to feel swelling in your knee, potentially popping, clicking. Your knee even might give way when you're stepping downstairs or squatting. Those are all signs of a meniscus tear. Another common finding is your knee feels real stiff. So what we want to do is we want to decrease force on the inner part of the joint and add control and force to your quad, your big thigh muscle, your butt muscle, and your calf. By using those muscles, you can significantly reduce the pressure on your meniscus. We also want to avoid twisting motions that happen in at the knee, because that can put a lot of strain on the meniscus itself and even increase the size of your meniscus tear. All right, so let's dive into the first exercise that I see done wrong all the time is skater squats. So this exercise has multiple names. I often see it as skater squats, where you step behind, so you take a step forward, then you step behind your leg and squat down, and then you do it on the opposite side and squat down. As you can see from this drill, the second I move my moving leg, I move it behind me, oftentimes my hips and my pelvis is going to rotate. Now, where does that rotate hit? It hits down in my knee. So the second I've rotated, now I've taken my femur, my thigh bone, and I've twisted it. And now what happens is, if I squat down, inside my knee, I'm feeling a lot of twisting and pressure on the meniscus itself. So this exercise is real tricky to get right if you want to reduce the strain at your knee. So what you want to focus on when you do this, you want to focus on trying to keep your pelvis forward as you take a step back and drop down. If I let my pelvis rotate, that is what's going to rotate the knee. If, however, I imagine there are lights on my pelvis and I keep those lights pointing forward, then all that happens is my knee moves out to the side, which doesn't necessarily increase pressure on the meniscus. That can reduce the amount of twisting. In general, though, most people do this quick, either as part of a class, it might be a boot camp style class, and you're doing quick motions, and I see it done a lot where that quick motion adds pressure, adds strain to the meniscus itself. So the skater squat is something you really want to control if you are going to do it. But you can get the same value of that drill if you just do a straight lunge, if you do a Bulgarian split squat, even if you do a single leg squat by itself. All those do the same thing as the skater squat without the rotational piece in at the knee that's going to strain your meniscus. The next exercise that I see runners get wrong all the time is a lunge. Lunging can be a great exercise, and it's one you want to work your way up to with the right form that can significantly increase the strength of your thigh muscle, your quadricep, of your butt muscle, even of your hamstring. You can add weight to it. It's a phenomenal drill. Unfortunately, a lot of runners do this incorrectly, increase the loading on the knee joint itself. If you have early stages of arthritis, that can increase the swelling, increase the pressure, and increase pressure on the meniscus. So here are the things you're going to want to avoid when you do a lunge to get it right. So first things first with the lunge. When you're looking at yourself from the front, definitely use a mirror, use some type of visual feedback so you know where your hips are, where your knees are, and where your trunk is. You're going to want to make sure that as you come down into the lunge, your knee does not twist inwards or twist outwards. Again, that's going to rotate in at the knee joint, and that's going to cause strain and shear to the meniscus itself. So avoid rotation at the knee. Similarly with the pelvis, if I drop my pelvis down to the opposite side that I'm lunging on, so if I drop it down left, that automatically moves my knee out and it adds strain to the inner part of my knee joint. If you have a medial meniscus tear, that is going to add pressure to that tear, and you could experience more swelling and you could experience more pain. So you want to make sure that you either have your shirt off or hands on hips so your pelvis stays level and doesn't rotate down. Similarly, if I let my trunk bend to the side, that usually pushes the knee inwards. That creates rotation, creates pressure on the meniscus. So that's what to avoid from the front view. From the side view, a lot of times runners will tap their back knee to the ground and then come back up. That's not bad, and you want to work your way up to that. For a lot of people who've recently had a meniscus injury, this can sometimes be an irritant. So if you come all the way down into this position and you're loaded in through your knee joint, again, you want to work up to this. This is a good functional motion. But as I go to press up, this initial phase, that can significantly load the back part of my knee. So if you have a posterior horn or posterior aspect of your meniscus that's torn, the deep lunge is going to aggravate that. So what you might do is you might use a hip hinge. You can still come down low past 90. You're just not getting to the point where your knee, your calf, and your hamstring are touching together. You're just coming down to a good functional range. And here's the thing with running. You only need about 45 degrees of knee bend when you run anyway, so you don't necessarily need to go all the way down to get the most benefit. Again, I love deep lunges for a functional movement. I think it's something you should work up to, but if you've recently had a meniscus injury, deep lunging probably should be avoided. Hey runners, if the content so far is helpful, go ahead, drop a comment below and let me know that you're enjoying. Also check out the description. If you have a meniscus injury and you want a running specific program to help you overcome it, just check it out. There's a link to my meniscus running program below if you want to take a deeper dive. Now the final drill I'm going to show you today is a chair pose, a yoga exercise. A lot of runners use yoga as a mobility program, as a core stability program. I love it, but there is one movement that's done quite often that I see runners complain about when they have meniscus injuries, and this is one that you can augment or adapt when you have a recent meniscus injury. Let me show you the details about that exercise. All right, so in yoga there's an exercise called a chair pose where you cross one leg over the other one, and then you do a single leg squat. So there are two things you really want to pay attention to here. Number one, when you go and put your leg up on the other side, a lot of people end up twisting. So twisting the pelvis because of hip tightness, they twist to get their leg up on the other leg. So already my pelvis is twisted to the side, which means my femur, my thigh bone is rotated inwards. That's already adding strain to the meniscus. So you want to keep your hips pointed forward when you do this drill. Secondarily, the second I put my leg on the other one, I'm adding compression to the knee. I'm pushing down on my kneecap, and that can change the alignment of the knee and increase knee pressure. So when I come down into my squat position, similar here, you don't want your knee to cave inwards, which is the number one compensation I see. Knee rolls inwards, pelvis rolls back. Now you have a grinding position in on the knee and a lot more strain to the meniscus. So if you want to do this right, set your hips first. You might even hold something to keep your pelvis level. And then you want to make sure you get your leg high enough so it's not on your kneecap. And then squat down so your knee stays forward and your chest stays equidistant over your knee to reduce loading in on the knee itself. So as you can see from these drills, twisting and rotation is probably the number one thing you want to keep an eye on. Even things like if you have an island in your kitchen and you plant your foot and twist, that's another seemingly simple thing that probably you think doesn't matter. It does if you have a recent meniscus injury. So pick up your foot, take a step rather than plant your foot and rotate. Again, the key here is to protect the knee itself. The ways to do that: strengthen your quad, strengthen your butt muscle, strengthen your calf, develop good sound running mechanics where your knee, hip, and pelvis stay straight instead of rotate, build up your foot core, build up your actual core. All these things make a huge difference at reducing pressure from the knee, reducing pressure from the meniscus. All right guys, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get access when I release more videos. And be sure to check out the videos on the screen. Other helpful videos about leg strengthening and about the things and mistakes I see when runners try to come back after meniscus surgery. Till next time guys, train smarter and perform better.